The noise level dropped faster than a rock off a cliff. 1 second, it was a perfectly normal, breezy Saturday evening. 30 people crammed onto our newly built deck. The smell of burnt sugar from the creme brulee dessert. The sound of loud, meaningless corporate gossip. The next second, silence. Utter, throat-closing silence. It was Jake's 40th birthday party, our 10th wedding anniversary year, and the moment John, Jake's CFO and best friend, leaned into my ear, his breath reeking of expensive bourbon, and whispered, "I don't know how you can stand watching him pack up every damn Friday to go play house." I didn't hear the whole sentence. My brain stopped at pack up and Friday. "What did you just say?" I asked, setting down the tray of empty champagne flutes. I didn't even look at John. I was looking past him, straight at my husband, Jake, who was frozen by the railing, holding a half-smoked Cuban cigar. His face had gone from celebratory pink to a sickly, mottled gray. It was the look of pure, unadulterated, "oh God, I am caught" terror. John blinked slowly, the alcohol clouding his judgment just enough to be fatal. The rental, the penthouse near the river, the one he's been keeping for, almost a year now? I mean, I thought you two had an arrangement. He said you were... He trailed off, finally registering the collective intake of breath from every guest, including his own wife Sarah, who was frantically trying to yank him away. "Jake." My voice wasn't loud. It was deadly quiet, the kind of quiet that draws blood. "The river penthouse. Tell me he's lying. Tell me this is some kind of sick, drunken joke." He dropped the cigar. It hit the immaculate decking with a tiny, pathetic sizzle. "John is completely sloshed, Anna. He has no idea what he's talking about." "He said Friday," I repeated, the word tasting like rust. "You always leave for the San Francisco project meeting every single Friday, and you don't get back until Sunday evening." John, now entirely ignored, slurred, "It's near the old bridge. 10th floor, nice view. He even bought that ridiculous $6,000 vintage stereo system for her. Said the girl loves jazz." I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't even blink. 10 months. Almost a year of Fridays and Saturdays. Gone. The missing time, the long project calls, the sudden extra travel days. All of it was a performance. "The stereo system," I said, a slow, terrible smile stretching across my face. "The one you told me was back-ordered for the home office, remember? You said it was too expensive to ship from New York. That's why you didn't have it." Jake lunged for John, but I stepped in front of him. "Don't touch him. Don't you dare touch him." Everyone here knew, didn't they? All of you. My family, my friends. You all came to my party, ate my food, and knew my husband was building a completely separate life 10 minutes away. The silence answered me. It was deafening. Sarah finally found her voice, a pitiful, high-pitched squeak. "Anna, honey, he told us it was a separation trial. He said you knew, but you were keeping it quiet because of..." "Because of what? Our daughter Evie? Or the fact that his company's stock options were set to mature in September and a messy divorce would complicate the valuation?" My voice was sharp now, cutting through the pretense. I turned my back on the entire crowd, walked through the shimmering sliding glass door and into the house that was no longer a home. I could hear the muffled, panicked scramble behind me, car keys jangling, hurried apologies, the retreat of cowards. Upstairs in the master suite, I went straight for his iPad Pro. Our 11-year-old daughter, Evie, had been using it recently. The password was still Evie's birthday. I bypassed his email and went straight to the cloud photo album. The first thing I saw wasn't a girl. It was a renovation log. Hundreds of photos, dated over the last 10 months. Photos of bare walls, new flooring going in, close-ups of specific custom light fixtures I had begged him to get for our kitchen renovation, but he'd called frivolous. And then I found her. Her name was Dana, according to the text overlay on the bottom right of one picture. Dana and Jake, 9 months. She was young, late 20s maybe. She was standing next to a monstrous, silver vintage stereo receiver, the one John had mentioned, wearing one of Jake's old, oversized cashmere sweaters, the gray one I couldn't find for months, the one he swore he donated to Goodwill. But it was the next photo that slammed the air from my lungs. It was a picture of our bedroom, the exact one I was standing in now. A close-up shot of my side of the bed, the nightstand, and the book I was reading. The caption, clearly a text message screenshot, read, "She's finally asleep. Zero clue. Be there in 30. Bring the expensive French wine. He didn't just cheat. He was actively monitoring me, using my sleep as a staging ground for his escape. He timed his betrayal down to the minute, making sure I was dead to the world. My phone buzzed. It was a text from Jake. "Where are you? Please, for God's sake, don't do anything rash. It's not what you think. I'm coming inside." I quickly disconnected the iPad from our Wi-Fi, went to the Notes app, and typed out 3 words: "Get a lawyer." Then I logged out and switched the tablet off, leaving it face down on the marble counter. When Jake came up, he looked like a man who'd seen his entire life flash before his eyes and realized the finale was going to be a dumpster fire. "Anna, listen to me," he pleaded, reaching for my hands. I took 2 steps back. "Which one is it, Jake? The French wine or the fact that you took pictures of me sleeping?" He froze, his mouth hanging slightly open. You didn't even change the password, you idiot. Did you honestly think I wouldn't check? After John handed me your entire second life on a silver platter?" "I was going to tell you. I swear I was. It's a rental for work. John is completely wrong about the girl. She's just a colleague, helping me set up a remote project space." "A colleague who wears my sweater and gets $6,000 vintage stereo systems? A colleague you need to wait for your wife to be dead to the world to visit?" I raised my voice for the first time. "I want details, Jake. Right now. Everything. If I catch you in one single more lie, I call my attorney and I will make this public. Start talking." He collapsed onto the edge of the ottoman. "Her name is Dana Reynolds. She's 27. She's the lead designer on the new London office. We clicked." "Clicked? You spent 10 months clicking and signed a 1-year lease with her. Is her name on the lease?" He nodded, shame finally appearing on his face. "Yes, we signed it 9 months ago. I lied about the 6 months, Anna. It started almost a year ago." "How much is the penthouse?" "I need to see the cost of the lie, Jake." "It's $12,000 a month, plus utilities, plus the furnishings. I moved $40,000 into a separate account over the last year, claiming it was for future business acquisitions. $12,000 a month. That's $144,000 gone in a year, money that could have paid for Evie's college. The shock of the financial betrayal was as devastating as the infidelity. "Get out," I commanded, pointing a finger toward the door. "Get your keys, your wallet, your phone. That's all. You have 5 minutes." "Where am I supposed to go? To Dana's?" he asked, suddenly defiant. "I don't care if you go live in a dumpster. You have a $12,000 a month penthouse, Jake. Go there. You will not spend another night in the house we built together." "The children," he whispered, weaponizing the only thing he had left. "You can't just kick me out. We have to be adults about this, for the sake of the kids. I am being an adult. I'm protecting our children from watching their father continue to lie under the same roof. You try to contact me other than through my lawyer, and I promise you, the press will have the full renovation log and Dana's name by lunchtime." He looked at me, really looked at me, and saw something shatterproof in my eyes. He nodded once, grabbed his car keys off the dresser, and walked out. I heard the roar of his 6-figure sports car peeling out of the driveway 10 seconds later. The quiet that followed was immense. The party was over. My marriage was over. I went downstairs, sat on the sofa, and started taking screenshots on the iPad. Everything. The photos of Dana, the renovation log, the text screenshot of me sleeping, the email trail for the penthouse lease agreement showing the $12,000 rent, and the names Jake Hamilton and Dana Reynolds. I saved it all. I was building a case for utter, undeniable victory. The next day, Sunday, I didn't wake up sad. I woke up with an adrenaline rush. I dropped Evie off at her swim practice, then drove straight to the office of the most brutal divorce attorney in the city, Ms. Eleanor Vance. "Tell me the full timeline," Eleanor said, folding her hands neatly on her mahogany desk. I started with the drunken revelation and ended with the apartment lease in his and Dana's names. I showed her the photographic evidence of the surveillance. Eleanor didn't flinch. He spent almost $150,000 of marital funds on a secondary residence and lifestyle with a girlfriend. He created a separate joint liability, the lease, and actively monitored your movements. This isn't just an affair, Anna. This is financial deception and an intentional tort of emotional distress. "I just want a clean break," I said. I want the house and I want full custody. I won't be poor because he decided to fund his new life. You won't be poor, she assured me. With this level of financial concealment and malicious conduct, we're targeting 65% of the joint assets, plus full recovery of the $144,000 he funneled into that penthouse. I signed the retainer agreement, which cost me a terrifying $25,000, and left her office feeling like I finally had armor. Monday morning, Jake was served the divorce petition, the restraining order, and the demand for immediate disclosure of all financial accounts. He called me 5 times in a row, violating the order. I didn't answer. He texted, "You're a monster, Anna. You're ruining me. You can't keep me from my daughter." I forwarded the text directly to Eleanor. 5 minutes later, she replied, "Violation noted. Filed motion for contempt. He will be sanctioned." That night, Evie came up to me while I was on the laptop. "Mom," she said, clutching her favorite worn-out stuffed animal. "When is Daddy coming home? My friend Leo said his dad didn't come home for a week once, and now he lives in a new apartment." My heart fractured. I knelt down and took her face in my hands. "Sweetie, Daddy and I are going through some big grown-up problems. He loves you so much. But for a while, he's going to be living somewhere else. You'll see him often, I promise." "But is it forever?" she asked, her big brown eyes swimming with unshed tears. "Yes, honey, it is forever. We aren't going to be married anymore." She didn't cry. "Okay, but can I still have my dad's old iPad? I need it for my new house drawings." "Of course, honey," I said, handing her the device. I watched her walk back to her room. The iPad wasn't locked. All the screenshots were still on the device. I ran to her room. She was sitting cross-legged on the floor, the iPad glowing in the dark room. "Evie, I need that back for a second," I said. "I forgot to delete some old work files." "Oh, okay," she said, but her attention wasn't on me. She was looking at the screen, her brow furrowed. "Mom, what's this picture? Why is Dad with a different woman in a different apartment?" My blood turned to ice. "And Mom," she continued, her voice small, "why did he take a picture of you sleeping? That's kind of creepy. He put a little text on top that said, 'Finally asleep.'" I sat down beside her, pulled her into my arms, and let her cry. I didn't try to explain the infidelity. I just explained the picture. Daddy was being very secretive, sweetheart. He was making bad choices. The picture was part of him making those bad choices, but it has nothing to do with you or me. It was only about him. The next week was brutal. Evie didn't talk about the picture again, but she changed. She stopped asking for Jake, stopped mentioning him. The pain was there, a hard, silent knot in her small chest. The tension peaked during the mediation session 4 weeks later. We were in a sterile conference room. Jake looked haggard. "You are financially destroying me, Anna," he hissed across the table when the mediator stepped out. "You tried to steal from me for a year, Jake," I countered, my eyes locked on his. "You were secretly siphoning off my future security to finance a second life. You used my sleep as a marker for your deception. That's not just cheating, that's psychological abuse. Eleanor is fighting for 65%, and frankly, I think she's being generous." "Dana and I broke up. It's over. I haven't seen her in weeks," he pleaded. "That's because you were served papers, not because you had a change of heart. You ended it only because you were caught." The mediator returned and read Eleanor's final proposal. 60% of the joint assets, the house, the primary vehicle, and full recovery of the $144,000 spent on the penthouse. Plus, mandatory 10 sessions of court-ordered family therapy before any visitation could be established. Jake finally cracked. He pushed his chair back, stood up, and pointed a shaking finger at me. "You want to know the real pain, Anna? The real difference between you and Dana? She was actually listening to me. You were too busy running your side business and organizing Evie's schedule to notice I was drowning." "I was drowning too, Jake. I was raising a family and building a house while you were spending $12,000 a month on a distraction. And Dana was listening? Was she listening when you told her you were taking photos of your wife while she slept? Did that sound like a stable, loving man to her?" He didn't have an answer. He looked at the floor, then quietly told his lawyer, "Tell them I'll take the 60%. The finality of it was crushing. 6 months later, the divorce was finalized. I kept the house. Evie was doing better. Jake had visitation every other weekend. One day, cleaning out the attic for a renovation, I came across an old, dusty leather portfolio. It was Jake's old company documents from 10 years ago. Inside, tucked into a sleeve, was a small sealed letter, dated 2 years before we were married. The envelope was addressed to John, his friend, the CFO. I tore it open. It was a note scribbled on a napkin. John, I need you to confirm that the prenup I gave Anna is legit. It's the standard one. Also, remember that $300,000 trust fund my uncle left me? Don't ever mention it. I never put it in the joint disclosure. She thinks I'm good, but I'm keeping that separate. See you at the bachelor party. $300,000. An entire trust fund, intentionally hidden from the marital assets before we even said I do. The initial lie wasn't 10 months old. It was 12 years old. The betrayal was no longer just about Dana or the penthouse. Jake wasn't just a cheater. He was a calculated financial predator who had planned his exit strategy before the marriage even began. I walked over to the phone, and my fingers didn't shake this time. I called Eleanor Vance. Eleanor, I said, my voice steady. I have something new. Something that proves the financial deception started 12 years ago. We need to reopen the case. I want that trust fund. Oh, Anna, Eleanor murmured, a note of genuine excitement entering her voice. This is better than the penthouse. This is fraud. I didn't feel rage anymore, only a terrifying sense of clarity. The divorce wasn't the end of the war. It was just the first battle. For the first time in over a decade, I felt truly awake. I was the woman who was finally fighting back, and Jake had absolutely no idea what was coming next. The story wasn't over. It was just getting interesting.